I want to go a little bit of history because of the ethnic tension that's been happening back and forth within the north, south, and east. Now, you should have some. I mean, definitely the not deep knowledge of the Biafra War and how it has happened. Now, how do you think that war has happened to shape Nigeria to make it to become what it is today? And how can Nigeria begin to outturn that history and make it and give it that?
No, because you see, the present owners of Nigeria were those, the gainers from the Biafran War.
Okay.
And when they came into power and take ownership of the nation as a result of the Biafran War, they had an agreement. When immediately they took ownership, they had an agreement, and that agreement was to continue to maintain the status quo. And the continued maintenance of the status quo is, according to them, the only way that they can remain in control of that power. The owners, when during the Biafran War, the Igbos lost, and they lost out. And by losing, they also lost out in the power equation. You get it?
Okay.
Whereas the other ethnic nationalities gained ascendancy against that backdrop. And the getting ascendancy against that backdrop, to them now, it becomes a situation whereby, you know, he who holds someone on the ground is also holding himself. So for them to remain, have the stranglehold within the nation, they also have to make sure that the Igbo nation does not rise to that power equation. But when you also subdue a significant demographic within your population because of hold of power, you are also denying your society ability to tap into whatever talent or whatever they can tap if we have a kind of a system whereby there is a kind of equality and fairness. So you either decide, should we run a country whereby I don't know which national anthem now I have to remember now, some of the things we said that I have to claim now, because the new old national anthem said that though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. We have never stood in brotherhood. So which brotherhood are you standing when tribe and tongue differs? Like I told you earlier, that Nigerians owe more allegiance to their ethnic nationality than to the nation Nigeria. That's why I told you earlier that Nigeria is an orphan. So if tribe and tongue differ, and from over the last 50 years, Nigerians have been huddling and cuddling their tribe and cuddling their tongue. So which brotherhood, what is giving what is the brotherhood standing again? There's no brotherhood.
So that means you don't even like the fact that they change the national anthem.
Is unnecessary. It's just a very hopeless. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So you look at some of those things. The things we claim, we don't abide by them. We are just paying lip service to some of these things. So if you are not abiding with what you claim, so how do you expect to make gains from it? So it's a very complex situation we are in. We're in a very complex situation. And because of how complex the situation is, we are not likely to move forward. We are not likely to come out of it. And that's why I keep on telling a lot of Igbo leaders, and some of these things, these are easy things. You see, you don't need to keep on aspiring to Abuja. You see, you don't need to keep on aspiring to Abuja. Right. You can, and what I think they should. And that was when all these people started talking about Biafra. I told them, I said, did you listen? Have you watched Ojukwu's last interview before he died? Where he proposed the idea of Biafra of the mind instead of Biafra of territory. Go deep and study about the Biafra of the mind. And when you study the Biafra of the mind, some of the tenets of the Biafra of the mind is, why not pursue economic Biafra instead of political Biafra?
How do you do that?
You pursue economic Biafra. Why not think about making the entire Southeast a superpower economic hub? Why not think about making the Southeast, connecting the economies of the Southeast through super economic integration, whereby every state will grow based on its own comparative advantage. Then you look at Anambra State, technology, small and medium scale enterprises. Then you look at Abia State, Aba, industries, major industry. Then you look at when you look at Imo State, you find that they can be the shopping mall, super Dubai shopping mall, whereby you have mall, you have leisure, all those kind of things. Then you look at Ebonyi, it become the food basket, the agricultural hub of the region. Then you look at Enugu State. Let me tell you what people don't know. The tourist site in Enugu State is, they've not even scratched. People don't even know 20% of it. You can turn Enugu State into a global tourist attraction center. And you see, when you do these things, you stop your young people from leaving that region to other region in search of jobs. You create opportunities. Michael Obara did this thing.
Some of these issues that we are talking about and some of these development that we're talking about can fully be done once power has been devolved. That is the essence why they're talking about the development of power.
Let me tell you.
Able to change.
He's not going to change anything. Presently, no matter how faulty the present constitution is, you have to ask yourself, what are on the exclusive list? What are on the concurrent list? How many things are within the concurrent list? All these things I've already told you now are things you can do within the concurrent list. You don't need any exclusive list. Exclusive list is about defense, is about the currency, is about foreign affairs, is about foreign diplomacy, and all those kind of things. All these things I'm telling you now are under the concurrent list. What have you done with what you have in the concurrent list? Look at what is happening in our education. Look at what is happening in our rural development. Our education system is crumbling. Primary education system is crumbling. Visit there now, you find out that it is the communities that are now renovating the primary schools. The state governments have stopped funding some of those things. It's the communities now that are recruiting teachers and paying them, villagers. You see, these are a concurrent list. Nobody is doing it. Nobody stops us from making Ebonyi State the super power agricultural, agro-industrial hub of the region. Nobody will stop you. You can do it. Nobody stops you from promoting Enugu State. Look at what's happening in Akwa Ibom State. Look at how they have consistently continued marketing Akwa Ibom State. Not only as a livable state, not only as a place now where people are now trooping to Akwa Ibom State for real estate and all those kind of things. Look at the stadium they built there and how they're attracting super egos to come and play there and those kind of things. That's how these are issues we are supposed to do. State governors are supposed to do. You don't need the federal government to achieve some of those things. But you see, because we have been beaten so much. And we've been beaten so much, we have been mentally ingrained with the fact that they don't like us. So because of that, our elite, corrupt elite, are hiding under that. They get into power, they don't do what they're supposed to do. Because they have us to fall back. And we say, because we are from this place, that's why nobody is helping us. That's why nobody is attracting government presence and those kind of things. What of state government presence? What are you doing with that? Okay, look at Ebonyi State. What Omahi did in Ebonyi State in 8 years. Yet Ebonyi State has the least allocation from the federal allocation in the whole of Southeast. But they achieved what these other states have not been able to achieve infrastructurally in the last 20 years. So if Umahi can achieve it in Ebonyi State, what stops every other person? Okay, look at Abia State, what's happening in Abia State in the last 1 year. Imagine that what OT has achieved in Abia State has been like that for the past 20 years. Where do you think Abia State would have been today? So they have opened, you see, some of these things, we have to open our minds and think outside this box of, they don't want us until we have this, we won't be this, until we have this, we won't be this, and all this kind of thing. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
So you don't follow the idea of independent Biafra.
Does it make sense? What are you independent to? It doesn't make sense. You see, everything you want to achieve as an independent Biafra, you can still achieve it within the present system you have now. But you have to have people who are thinking. What is causing our people all this is frustration, poverty, erosion of values. Like what I discussed with you, what I said earlier about burials and all those kind of things. Is it Nigeria that is causing it? No, is it Nigeria that is causing some of those value erosion? It's not Nigeria that is causing it. It is us. But we are not willing to accept responsibility because over time we have blamed outsiders for so long about our situation that it has got stuck into us that everything that's happening to us, like they say that let everything that beat us in the night, let we blame it on the mosquito.
But so it has become that those things that are on the exclusive list are more superior power than those that are on the concurrent list to cause development in those regions.
Okay, now ask yourself, what is on the exclusive list presently that is of more superior power to cause development? Is it control of the armed forces? Is it control of currency? Is it control of internal affairs, prisons and all those things? Is it control of international diplomacy and all those kind of things? The infrastructure is on the concurrent list. Roads is on the concurrent list. So nobody stops is now on the concurrent list. This is what Naji did in Aba. Did anybody stop him? So what stopped every state in the southeast from doing a similar thing? Or from them pulling resources together to have a kind of southeast power? What stops them? Nobody is stopping them. But you see, part of this, nobody has sat down and itemized this thing so our people will understand it. Is it building of industries? It's not on the exclusive list. We can do it ourselves. Is it education? It's not. Is it health? It's not. Is it rural development? It's not. Who is stopping us? We are the ones stopping ourselves. Because we too are also ostriching. We are ostriching because we are playing the victim. We have played this victim card for so long. I say, our people, let us accept our lot the way it is. But we let us ask ourselves, what can we do with the lemon that's been thrown to us? Can we make a lemonade? Let's start from a lemonade. Maybe after lemonade, we'll be able to have an apple juice.
The challenge is once people, as an entrepreneur, like as an Igbo entrepreneur, there are some witch hunting and that are limiting you to do some certain things, like if not because of what Aden Onyema is struggling to make sure that he does what he wants to do. If you look, you will see this witch hunting that is happening within his business. So these are some of the. Are you going to call these things psychologically?
Yeah, but let me tell you.
Issues that are currently facing that is not because of the Nigerian.
Now the issue is now. You see, I'm not some of these things. I do not deny the existence of prejudices. But what you have to understand is that prejudices are also a double-edged sword.
Okay.
There's the one you can be self-prejudiced against yourself, self-sabotage by assumption of a prejudice. You can assume that somebody hates you. And because you assume that somebody hates you, you will not be able to explore opportunities you are supposed to do that might scale you up beyond that level because of that assumption. Assumption can be a limiting factor, but there are also existing prejudice that's there. But what you have to ask yourself now, you gave an example with Allen Onyema and APs. Okay, if Allen Onyema is struggle how to fight extra hard because he's an Igbo man to be able to establish APs, how come other people from other parts of the country who are not Igbo and they are into airlines, how come they have not done better than Allen Onyema? How come they have not used those available opportunities that are not staked against them to do better than Allen Onyema? How come? There are other airlines that are owned by other Nigerians that are not Igbo. How come they are not doing better than Allen Onyema? How come recently United Nigeria joined the fray? Is owned by an Igbo man, and is also pulling his weight, and it is still there. Whereas other airlines that are owned by people who are not Igbo people, how come they have not used that advantage? That advantage they have against Igbo people, how come they have not used it to be bigger? Have you thought about that? So that's the way I think. How come, if there is truly an advantage that they have because they are not Igbo, how come they have not used it to become a Dangote?
I think it's about the mindset.
And sometimes it might be that there's no existing prejudice against some of these businesses. It might be a two-way thing. Because I mean, we had there was there's some of those airlines that were owned by some of the northerners and all this kind of thing. Some of them, after some of them, they are not doing very well, even under a president and the minister of aviation that is also from their place. But they didn't do better than Allen Onyema. So how come? So that's why I tell people, let's pay little attention to some of these things. You see, look at China. You remember when China banned Huawei from semiconductors and all this kind of thing, and even increased, caused the daughter of the owner of Huawei to be detained in Canada for almost 6 months or so. Chinese people cried, but they looked inwards. Because as at that time, iPhone was being threatened by the Huawei P series. After that time, they say you can't have Huawei in Google, you can't have them in this operating system, you can't have them in all the other operating systems. They left and they designed their own operating system and they bounced back. Look at where they are today. Then it's not just that they're pulling their weight in mobile phone, cell phone area. Look at what they are doing now in the semiconductor chips industry. The only Chinese company that is giving NVIDIA and SMNC a run for their money now is Huawei. Now they're targeting the 5 millimeter chips. That's what they're targeting now. Look at where they are. You see, I want our people to always start seeing opportunity from some of these perceived grievances. Instead of sitting down and crying over the grievance, crying, let us start seeing opportunities.
Doing something with what you have with you already.
I mean, look, if you go to history, let me tell you, we are far more better advantaged today than we were in 1980. Yeah, 10 years after the war. Yet, 10 years after the war, Aba was the only city that was giving Lagos a run for its money in factories and industrialization. As at 1980, there was no major company that has office in Lagos without having a factory in Lagos without having an Aba. You have the PZ. Even PZ started in Aba before coming to Lagos. You have the PZ. You have the Liver Brothers. You have Nigerian Breweries. You have Guinness. You have all of them. Vitafoam. All of them that were in Lagos, they were in Aba. People were coming from Mali. People were coming from Senegal, people were coming from Gambia, people were coming from Chad to come to Aba. Aba was 1980, that was 10 years after the war. So what advantage did Aba had 10 years after the war that it did not have 20 years after the war, 30 years after the war, 40 years after the war? What advantage? Was there a seaport in Aba in 1980? No. Was there an airport? Was there an airport within how many kilometer radius of Aba? No. But today, there's an airport within 30 kilometers to Aba. Today, there's a power station. So ordinarily, today, Aba is at a better footing than it was in 1980. But in 1980, it was doing so well that people will graduate from Soka and they head to Aba to get a work. People will graduate from anywhere within the southeast, from even Unical, Uniport, and all those things. They head to Aba to get a work. So what happened? You see, we have not been able to sit down and think. We've not been able to connect the dots. We have not been able to study pattern recognition. That's why we are missing some of these things. And that's my anger with the Igbo intelligentsia. They are so comfortable sitting down and wringing their fingers that nobody is thinking. Nobody is asking questions.
When you see some of the major aspects where some of the major areas where most of the Igbos are very strong at, which is the imports and export and things like that, but you can see that part has been restricted from the federal by not creating an enabling seaport environment. So for things to be able to be done in that place, that everything, most of the things people have to come down to Lagos to do them and things like that.
Do you know
why can't those things be also be done?
Do you know that as at 90, let me tell you, give you an example. I'm not talking about 1980 now. Let me tell you. Do you know, before insecurity, before that time, OCC Kankwa and all those kind of things messed up Aba, do you know how many containers that will land in Lagos and they take it to Aba to open it, and people will come from Lagos to go to Aba to, do you know part of the thing that started the boom in night buses were traders who were coming. Those traders are not only Igbo traders who were coming from Lagos to go to Aba to buy bales of clothing. Balogu was not even in contention to Aba when it comes to bales of clothing. Did they have seaport in Aba? They didn't have seaport in Aba. You see, you get some of these things. So those are some, you see, a market, no matter where it is located, business, no matter where it is located, if the products are top quality, it will attract demands from all over the world, irrespective of where it's located. So now, where instead of us talking about, okay, now, is there anything? Is the seaport further away than it was in 1980? No. Even logistics has improved far more better. That you can stay in Lagos now and send a package to Aba, somebody will get it, and you can stay here now and buy something in Aba, and somebody will package it and send to you. So you see, a lot of things have improved for the best. So now some of the things we have to start looking at. You see, we see the problem we have in the Southeast is that when we hone our mind at a particular something, it blinds us from thinking of all other possible areas. Okay. Now, how many people are thinking about, yes, we are criticizing that the rail line they've renovated from Port Harcourt to Aba is the narrow gauge line, and is this. Now, can we start thinking about how can they extend that rail line to One port, so that goods, containers coming into that place can be freighted from One to Aba instead of using the road? You get it? It solves a lot of things. We need to start thinking in those areas. Now there's the Calabar port. There's another one, Ibeno port. So these are ports that are about less than 1 hour drive from Aba. So Aba is a junction city. How can we work on it. You remember there used to be Obuako City Development that Oji Sokalo started. Obuako is at the junction, is at the boundary between River State and Abia State. And that is how cities develop. Why did he not carry it on? You build a brand new city at that junction. So a lot of people who work in Port Harcourt can live in Obuako. A lot of people who work in Aba can live in Obuako. Before you know it, Obuako becomes a satellite town, top class satellite town, attract people from all over. What is thinking about this kind of thing? The Azumini River everybody is talking about is a blue river. It's one of the most, it is one of the most beautiful, clearest blue rivers in the world. Why are we not marketing Azumini River as a major international tourist attraction? So people can come there and build a kind of develop hotels and all those kind of things on there. You've seen Uguta Lake. Do you know the tourist potential of Uguta Lake? Why are we not looking at it?
Wow.
Why are we not looking at it? You can transform Uguta Lake into a major international tour. Start advertising it on CNN. People will be coming from all over the world. Uguta Lake. Just do all those boat regatta, do all those cruising, build Charles hotels, build, it has an international golf course, build more. Let Imo State government sponsor with some of the corporate organizations, sponsor international golf tournament. Uguta International Golf Tournament. Look at what people are doing in Dubai. Dubai Grand Prix, Qatar Grand Prix, all these other places. Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Dubai now, what Saudi Arabia is doing, they just bring every boxing competition in Saudi Arabia. Our people are stealing the money and throwing it away. Why not you do international tennis tournament at Opara? Build a world-class tennis court at Opara Square in Enugu and host an international tennis tournament instead of stealing 500,000 dollars and go and start it in Swiss bank. The $500,000 will be the prize money for the stars that will come. Then you give the winner 200,000, the other one 150,000, the other 150,000. Attract everybody from all over the world, and they will come. If they are not, they will come. When they come to watch tennis, but they will come to see other things. They will come to see more opportunities in Enugu State. And apart from that, do you know the amount of forex it will bring? Do you know how it will impact the economy of that place within that period? If it's taking place for 1 week or 2 weeks, do you know now Roland Garros is taking place? Do you know what the France makes from that tennis tournament? That is how to start. You have to have leaders that think, not leaders that just in the night they just go and sit over Isiewu and wine and all those kind of things and they go.
Okay, I think it's about mindset. I think I understand it.
That's the way. I've studied this thing. Over in 50 countries. See how it works.